Hello everyone, my name is Kayla from Chromatic Crochet, and today I have a very exciting tutorial to bring to you all. We are going to make a bandana top, or you can just make a regular hair bandana, up to you. This top is size inclusive. It is made to measure, so you can make it as big or as small as you need to fit your body, or if you're making it as a gift, someone else's body, which just makes this a perfect summer top or hair accessory, okay? This pattern is very versatile. Now, before we get into it, we do have a first sip of the day sponsor. Got my caffeination. I actually haven't taken a sip yet. It's still really hot. We're gonna try it together. But today's sponsor is my sourdough starter. And you're probably wondering, Kayla, your sourdough starter can't support you financially. You're right. You're very right. But I will say the sourdough starter has been giving lately. I have been making lots of loaves of bread and other things, and it is so tasty. And I don't have any other sponsors at the moment. So today is the sourdough starter's big day of sponsorship. So this sip is in honor of that starter. Good coffee. If you would like to sponsor a future video, there's a link in the description below. If you would like to buy me a cup of coffee, you are helping support me, support this channel, support these free tutorials I am able to bring you guys. And with that being said, let's hop right into today's video. All right, let's talk materials. Now, the greatest thing about this pattern is you can use whatever yarn you have on hand. I probably wouldn't recommend using a size 6 chunky yarn or blanket yarn, but if you have acrylic, cotton, bamboo, you know, whatever you like to use for wearables, you can use that on this top. The first time I made this top, I used Kobu, which is a cotton bamboo blend, and this is how it turned out. So I'm gonna show you guys real quick. Just a cute little top, okay? And the reason I'm wearing a tube top today is to show off how cute this top is, okay? So that is this one. It is cotton and bamboo. Today, I'm gonna use something different just to really emphasize and show you guys that you can use whatever you have on hand. Today, I will be using these lovelies. These are from Peaches and Cream. They're a Walmart brand cotton, okay? They're not fancy, they're not bougie. This is easily accessible to the general population, okay? Super cute. I love this colorway. And if that's not enough, because I only have the two, I do have some Kobu. I actually got this one from clearance, okay? Just a good old white color. I probably will end up doing like a border in the straps with this color, but we'll see how far the other one gets us. So once you have your yarn, you're gonna need a corresponding hook size. Now, I love sizing up my hooks when it comes to summer tops, okay? If you use the recommended hook size, your top is gonna be dense, there's gonna be less space between the stitches, and it's just gonna be less airy and breathable. And where it's summer and it's hot and sticky and sweaty and, you know, it's summer, you want it breathable, right? So I like to size up. I am using a size 7 hook today. For this one with the bamboo cotton blend, it was a little smaller. I used a 6.5. If you're using like a 4-way acrylic, 7, 7.5, maybe even an 8, just kind of go what feels good to you and what you have available. You don't have to run out and go buy a new hook, but I would recommend something a little bigger than your typical hook size, okay? And of course, scissors, stitch markers. I've got a tapestry needle in there, just your general crochet supplies as you work along, but really if you have the yarn in the hook, you can make it work. So with that being said, I think we better just jump right into it. All right, so starting with the main color, we are going to find us a center pole, or if you like to pull from the outside, that's all right as well, but I am a center pole girly, especially when we are working with a cake. Look at that. All right. So we will be starting off with a magic circle. So if you've never done a magic circle, today's your day. It is very similar to starting with a slip knot. So we're going to drape our yarn over our 2 fingers, wrap around to form this X shape here. We're gonna go under both of them, pull that top one under, so you have something like this. And then I'm going to chain 1 with our working yarn. And I'm not going to tighten it. And look, a magic circle. This is what we will be working into. I'm gonna zoom in and show you guys that one more time. All right, one more time. With your 2 fingers extended, we are going to drape with the bottom end down over both fingers, and we're gonna wrap around and back up, making an X shape. I like to kind of hold onto the yarn with my thumb here. Take your hook, slide in between the 2 fingers. You're going to grab that top yarn with your hook and pull it through. All right, just like that. And then before you do anything else, you're going to grab that top yarn again and pull it through one more time. That is a chain 1. And look, magic circle, beautiful. Okay, from here, we are going to chain 1 more. So we've got a chain 2, and then we're going to chain 1 more. That counts as a double crochet and a chain 1, but it's really just a chain 3. And then we are going to put a granny stitch cluster, which is 3 double crochets. So we've got 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet. So there is a granny stitch cluster, so it should look like you have 4 posts. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We are going to chain 2. This is going to be our corner. And then 1 more granny stitch cluster, okay? So we've got 1 double crochet. I'm gonna pull this tighter just a little bit. 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet, all right, and then we are going to chain 1 and do 1 final double crochet. And that, my friends, is row number 1. It looks kind of messy right now, but we're gonna pull this tight. You want it as tight as it can go. Obviously you don't want to break the yarn, but you want it secure. That's row number 1. Basically from here, we're just going to be making a giant granny stitch triangle. So for row number 2, we're going to chain 3, because that counts as a double crochet, and a chain 1. We're going to turn our work, and in that first chain 1 space, so before our first granny cluster, in this chain 1 space, you will stick a granny cluster, so that's 3 double crochet, and then we're going to put our next stitches into that chain 2 space. So do not chain 1 between your granny stitch clusters. So we are just going to yarn over and jump to that chain 2 space. And we are going to put a granny stitch cluster, so that's 3 double crochet. And since this is our turning corner space, we are going to put another chain 2. Granny stitch cluster in the same chain 2 space, since we are increasing here. We're not going to chain 1, but we are going to find the space. So here is our next granny stitch cluster, and then we have that chain 3 from the beginning of the round that counts as a double crochet and a chain 1. So we are going to put our next granny stitch cluster into that space, into that chain 1 space here. And from here we're going to chain 1, and then we are going to double crochet onto the top of that second chain from that chain 3 we did. And it should look something like this. So from here, the basic construction of the rest of this top is exactly the same. So we will be increasing our granny stitch clusters on that chain 2 space. So you will always put 2 granny clusters in that space with a chain 2 between them. And you will put a granny cluster in between all the other granny clusters, including these stitches on the ends. So the double crochets and the chain 3s are just going to give us that straight edge across the top of that bandana, right? So you will always start with a chain 3 and end with a double crochet into those singular stitches. But it's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. I'm gonna do another row or 2 with ya, and then I will show you guys how I do my sizing. So we will chain 3, turn. We're gonna do a granny stitch cluster. And then we will do another granny stitch cluster in the next space between the stitches. There should not be any chain spaces along the diagonal edges, just on the straight edge and in the increase space. So in this increase space, we will do 3 double crochet, a chain 2, 3 more double crochet in the same space, another granny square cluster in the next space between them, and then one last in that last space by our chain 3. And remember, we are going to chain 1 and place a double crochet into that second chain. And we should be looking a little something like this. So I'm gonna do one more row with you. 1, 2, 3, turn, granny stitch, granny stitch, granny stitch, increase granny stitch, granny stitch, and then one more granny stitch between our border here, chain 1, and then double crochet into the second chain from that chain 3 at the beginning of the previous row. And then, look at that. We've got a triangle. We're building triangles here. So the rest of the main portion of the top is just this. So you can make this as big or as small as you would like. And let me show you with my previous top how I do my sizing. Okay, so taking a look at this guy, I did 16 rows of the granny stitch. Now, this is just what fit me the best. I typically wear a size medium. I just want to make sure that my kind of front torso is covered, and I didn't want the tip of the bandana to be hanging down super low. So I found 16 rows works the best for me personally with my body. And then of course we add the straps later to make it so it can tie around the back side. Now, if you're wanting to make a bandana, you would just kind of try it on as you're working it up. I have my hair up, so it's probably gonna look silly. For me, I love this size for bandana. I love the 16 stitches, or even maybe 15 if you want a little smaller. But I can wear this as a bandana and it looks good. Okay, this is how I like my bandanas to fit though, okay? My personal opinion. But if you want to do a bandana, it's the same pattern as this top. It's the same straps and border. It's just going to be sized smaller for your head and not your torso, right? So just keep that in mind if you're here to make a bandana. So I'm going to keep working up this guy and we will get up to a good size, and then I'll show you guys how I do my little border and my straps. Alright guys, I got to the size that I wanted. I only used one of my cakes. I had a little left over even, and I did the last row in white. I didn't end up using the kobu that I thought I was going to. I pulled this out of my stash. This is the same, this is peaches and cream white. So this is from Walmart. I think it's like $10 for a giant cone of it. And I figured, let's just keep it all cotton today. So I did the last row in white, and because I'm going to be doing the straps and then the top border in white as well. So once you get to the point where your top or bandana is the size you want it to be, this is going to be your next step. We are going to add the straps and the border. Alright, so for my straps, I'm just going to start at whatever end my yarn ended up on. It doesn't really matter, and I'm going to begin by chaining the length that I want my strap to be. So I'm gonna start with I'm thinking a chain of 50 is going to be big enough, and once you make your chain you can kind of put it up against your body and see how it fits, if it's going to be long enough to tie in the back. You're going to have a chain on both ends and they'll be the same length, so that way you can tie it in the back. So I'm going to start with a chain of 50. That is definitely going to be long enough for me here. It might be a little bit too long, but I don't mind a little extra strap hanging down once it's tied, so I'm gonna leave it as is. And I know once I start single crocheting back into it, it's going to shrink. So on this side, once you reach the length you want, you are going to fasten off. Okay, so now I have a chain of 50 on this side. And then I'm going to pick up my other side here. I'm going to create a slip knot on my hook. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the third chain of that chain 3 in that corner space here. And then on this side, I'm going to chain the exact same number plus 1. So we're gonna do 51 on this side. So if you chained 30, you wanna do 31. If you chained 45, you wanna do 46, etc. Just make sure you have one extra on this side because it will be a turning chain. Okay, so now that I have 51 on this side, I'm just going to pull out my chain, and I want to make sure that it's not twisted as I begin to single crochet across. So starting in the second chain from my hook, we are just going to begin to single crochet across. And I am wanting to crochet into the top loops of my chain because we will be single crocheting across the top of the bandana, the straight edge. And since we did size up the hook for the main body, if you wanted to, you could go down a hook size or 2 when you're doing the straps if you want a tighter stitch in your straps, but I don't mind too much, I think, because we're gonna do 3 rows total on here, so I think this hook size is going to work just fine for me today. All right, once you get across your chain here, we are just going to single crochet across the flat edge of our top. And I'm going to carry these tails with my single crochet as well, so that way it is one less end I have to weave in. And in these spaces, I like to do 2 single crochets. So this is the side of a double crochet. I will do 2 single crochets across on each one. Now, if you find that it's bunching your fabric or it's kind of buckling and waving, you can do more or less. It just kind of, you just want to kind of evenly distribute your single crochets across the top here. And we are going to do this all the way across the top and then across our other chain on the other side. And then once you get to the end of this chain, we will continue together and I will show you how to do the underside and the rest of the border. All right, I've got my single crochets all the way across the top, and from here we are going to do a single crochet all the way down our angled granny stitch sides. So in this last stitch, I've already placed 1 single crochet and I'm going to place 2 more. So that's 3 total, and that's just kind of going to round out our ends here. And of course, I'm tucking away this end and I'm just going to place single crochets all the way across. Now going along this edge is super easy. We are simply putting a single crochet into every stitch. So starting with that chain 1 space, I just put a single crochet, and then we are just going to single crochet into every granny square stitch. Super, super simple. And then when we get to our chain 2 space, we will place 3 double crochets because we still want that to be a nice sharp corner. All right, here, like I said, here is that chain 2 space, and we are just going to place 1, 2, and 3 single crochet, and then continue along single crocheting in every stitch. All right, I have finished my border. All I did is I continued working up in every stitch and then across the bottom of the chain, just as we did earlier in the row. And then on the end, in that last stitch, I put 2 double crochet to kind of turn it a little bit, and then I slip stitched into that first of that row right there, and then I fastened off. I'm gonna go ahead and weave in this loose end and we will try it on and see how it looks. Alrighty guys, this is how I am choosing to style this piece today. I think it would be super cute if you had a white tube top with how light these colors are, but I do not, so this is what I've got for you guys. I think it is so cute. I feel like it's giving summer, it's giving festival. I wore one of these to a concert not that long ago actually, and it was just so fun to wear and I love it. I love wearing it with like a little mini skirt. I just think it looks so chic and fun. And here's the tie in the back. So fun. And I will go ahead and show you guys what this size looks like in my hair at the moment. All right, here it is. I think if I was making this specifically to wear in the hair, I would maybe make it a row or 2 shorter, but I still think it is super cute. I do love how versatile this pattern is. You can use it for all kinds of things. Even if you don't want to make a top or a bandana, this is just a good tutorial on how to make a triangle granny square, and you can use it for whatever your heart desires. But so many fun things you can do with this. I love it. Anyways, for all of you guys who are still here, still watching, thank you so much for sticking around and watching this tutorial today. If you enjoyed this tutorial and you want to see more, I've got more on my channel and I plan on continuing to upload more crochet content regularly. So if you enjoyed today, be sure to hit the subscribe button, stick around, let's crochet together. And I hope you guys all have a lovely day and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.